I've always been the kind of person who loves finding a good deal. So, when I saw a high-end laptop being sold for half its price, I couldn't resist. The ad was vague, just a short description, no pictures, and a single line, urgent sale, no questions. That should have been a red flag, but I ignored it. I contacted the seller, and he replied almost instantly. The exchange was simple. He asked me to meet him in a dimly lit parking lot late at night. It felt weird, but my excitement overpowered my caution. When I arrived, a man in a hoodie was already waiting. He didn't say much, just handed me the laptop and mumbled, "Take it, but listen. Don't try to dig too deep. Just wipe it and use it." Before I could ask anything, he walked away, disappearing into the darkness. That night, I got home and opened the laptop. Surprisingly, it booted up fine. No password lock, no issues. But here's where things got strange. The previous owner hadn't wiped anything. The desktop was cluttered with files, most of them unlabeled. But there was one folder that stood out. It was named Do Not Open. Now, if someone tells you not to do something, your first instinct is to do exactly that. My heart pounded as I clicked on it. Inside, there were hundreds of videos. At first, they seemed like random surveillance clips. Empty hallways, abandoned buildings, hotel rooms. But as I scrolled down, the videos got more disturbing. They were secretly recorded footage of people in their homes, completely unaware. Some were just sitting, eating, watching TV, but others were being watched while they slept. Then I found a file labeled live_feed.mp4. I clicked on it, and that's when I felt my stomach drop. It was a real-time video. The footage was grainy, but I could make out a dimly lit room, a single chair, and someone tied to it. A man, his head slumped forward, breathing heavily. His clothes were torn and his wrists were bound. I thought maybe it was a recording, until he suddenly lifted his head and looked directly at the camera. "Help me," he whispered. I slammed the laptop shut. My hands were shaking. This wasn't some sick joke. This was real. I reached for my phone to call the police, but then a notification popped up on the laptop. "You shouldn't have opened that." I froze. My Wi-Fi was off. No internet connection. Then how did that message appear? Before I could process, another one popped up. "You have 10 minutes to put it back where you got it, or we come for you." Suddenly, my phone rang. Unknown caller. I hesitated but answered. A deep voice whispered, "We see you." I shot up from my chair and ran to the window. My heart nearly stopped. Across the street, parked under a flickering streetlight, was a black SUV. Its headlights were off, but I could feel eyes watching me from inside. I wasn't going to wait to find out what they wanted. I grabbed the laptop, shoved it in my bag, and bolted out of my apartment. As I reached the parking lot where I had met the seller, I saw something that sent chills down my spine. The same man in the hoodie, waiting. I approached cautiously, breathing heavily. "Take it back," I said, shoving the laptop toward him. He didn't take it. Instead, he shook his head. "It's too late. They've marked you now." Before I could ask what that meant, I heard tires screeching behind me. The black SUV had pulled up. The back door opened slightly. "Run," the man whispered. "Now." I didn't hesitate. I turned and sprinted as fast as I could, weaving through the dark alleys, not daring to look back. I could hear footsteps behind me. They were chasing me. I ran for what felt like hours until I found a crowded street and ducked into a gas station. My chest was heaving, sweat dripping down my face. I waited there for a long time, watching every passing car. The black SUV never appeared again. Eventually, I went home, but I didn't sleep that night. I placed the laptop outside my building, hoping someone else would take it. By morning, it was gone. I don't know who those people were, or what I had stumbled into. But sometimes, late at night, I feel like I'm still being watched. And the scariest part? A week later, another laptop ad appeared online. Urgent sale, no questions.